I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary. Well, welcome to Great Mother Speaks. I'm Tammy Taylor, your manifestation muse, and today...
You know, when you're learning an entirely different culture and you don't speak the language, there's a surrender to knowing there's a limitation to how much you're going to actually be able to absorb. Because the nature of learning and the authenticity of integrating the information is compromised. And so as a result, you just make a truce with yourself that I'm going to get out of this what I need to get out of this. And that is the truce that I've made with myself with Vedic astrology. And so I say that because it's timely with this Pisces full moon in Shatabisha Nakshatra. I always remember Shatabisha Nakshatra because Nakshatra, see, there we go. It's different culture, different language, and, you know, struggling to pronounce and everything. But Spirit always gives us what we need. And what I need is to remember the essential elemental truth of these constellations. There are 27 of them. Shatabisha is at the end of Aquarius and the beginning of Pisces. And so we're in a Pisces full moon in both the Western and the Vedic. But it's important in the Vedic to look at the nakshatras, particularly when we are talking about the moon. It's a lunar astrology, and these are lunar-based constellations. I always remember Shatabisha because when I first heard it, it sounded to me like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, those of you who are raised in the Baptist tradition like I was, you might recall who they are. They were the three wise brothers who would not bow down to the king of Babylon. And they were rewarded as a result. This is a great planetary fear at this time, to stand in one's truth of their divinity. And this nakshatra is such a powerful one because it speaks to the reward for doing so. And if you recall, you know, they ended up being really high respected officials of Babylon because their God was leading them through all the trials and tribulations of not bowing down to this king. And everybody was like, what? He's going to kill you. He threw them into a fiery furnace. You know, he didn't just throw them in jail, or he didn't just, have a death sentence where they were killed in some, way, that everybody could watch and be, even put on a cross like Jesus Christ. He threw them in a furnace, and Jesus came and walked them out. And so, all of this, we understand as mythology because we are so deep into what Great Mother says is and in translation from the Vedas too, is called, the sea of forgetfulness. It is not a judgment or condemnation. We came into this world for a reason. We are under the veil of forgetfulness for a reason. Forgetfulness of what? Of our divinity, in order for us to learn how to use our power. As a good parent, you give your child, a little leash, a little bit at a time, as they demonstrate their ability to maintain their lives. As long as they're safe, well, then we can loosen up a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. And that's how we grow. It's the same thing with us, as above, so below. So this nakshatra is all about feeling that power. And we're in an age where we're being so blessed with so many powerful downloads that if you are not in tune with your divinity, it's freaking people out. And so they're using it in different ways. For example, we were talking about an MDT support group about how all of the mass murders and things that are going on, it's really about a confusion that people are having internally. It has nothing to do with the external world. That's our first impulse, is to externalize everything that's happening. Oh, it's because of this, it's because of politics, it's because of that. No, 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 no. All war begins within. And the inner war is, as Great Mother, through the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, guides us through a rebirth and a regeneration of our divinity, through the release of MDT identity, the shame, blame, and guilt of the abandonment and abuse of our birth mothers. We have to, as individuals, undergo this internal rebirth. And what is rebirth? Rebirth is a death of the old self. And so just like everything else, instead of sitting with that, we go into addiction, which is just another word for pain avoidance. We go into drug addiction, sex addiction, or just addiction to trying to control others, which the ultimate expression of that is murderous behavior, whether it is through the spoken word or through action, which we can also use as a very powerful, loving tool, action and the spoken word, to uplift and to encourage through the signs and symbols, just as the signs and symbols through this Vedic astrology, whether I understand Hindu or I understand Sanskrit or not, Spirit is going to give me what it needs to give me in order to use me as a vehicle to speak to whoever needs to hear what it's saying. For those who do want to go through this rebirthing process and going through the fire, as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego did, they had to prove to themselves that they were worthy to rule Babylon. They were just humble believers in God. And that's what is meant by the meek shall inherit the earth. The humility goes through an experience of gaining the wisdom of knowing that it has a value to the world. And that's what this transition from the Piscean age of the Christ consciousness into the Aquarian age, which is about embodying the Christ consciousness as individuals. We live Christ consciousness as individuals. We live what he taught as individuals. In other words, we dance to the beat of our own drum, just like he did. He just showed us an example of how he did it, how he embraced his divinity and believed in his God, despite the what they call them, the Sadducees, the Pharisees and the Sadducees were against him. The high priests were against him and his teaching of the great Father. And so we are coming into that, and Great Mother, Father God are injecting us and the planet with the power to do it. But if we don't know what we're being injected with, we are interpreting it as fear, because we are so filled with fear due to this sea of forgetfulness that we're in, that has got us in this addiction to external manifestation of Great Mother, Father God, as opposed to the internal. So this is all about us connecting with that during this season. The full moon is in Pisces in both the Western and in the Vedic astrology. And as we know, Pisces is the teetering, tottering slope that we walk between delusion and enlightenment, between self-deception and self-awareness. The Leo new moon, Great Mother did an extended introduction about what this season leading up to January 2020 is all about. So if you want to check that out, there is a link in the information box below. This full moon, Great Mother wants to bring our attention to the Vedic aspect of this season with this full moon in Pisces, in the Vedic and in the Western. Now, what's interesting is that in the Vedic astrology, Neptune, as opposed to in the Western astrology, being in Pisces at this time, creating a great deal of delusionment and difficulty with that dance, with awareness. In the soul astrology, are the cosmic astrology as opposed to the geocentric, earth-centric ego astrology that is basically the tropical astrology that's focused on our egoic experience, our ego reaction to life. In the soul astrology, we're actually looking at how, why, when, and for what purpose the soul incarnated. Neptune here is in Aquarius, and so this period of time has to do with what the collective consciousness is undergoing in terms of its internal dance between illusion and awareness around humanity, around what it wants to collectively contribute on a soul level to this transitional phase between the Piscean age and the Aquarian age. This is why this particular period is so intense. So what Great Mother wants to focus on in this introduction to your full moon Pisces reading is the idea that you, from a soul perspective, are looking toward the future at this particular time, or you're looking in the past at this particular time, at yourself, at your experience at this particular time. And you're either saying, wow, I am really living up to my greatest soul potential at this time to free myself from the bondage, from the attachment to forgetfulness of my divinity, forgetfulness of my soul essence, forgetfulness of my birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. I am releasing myself from that forgetfulness. I'm doing my level best as a conscious being to do that. Or I am overwhelmed by the challenges of doing that. And either way, Great Mother is inviting us to receive the eternal grace and mercy that is available to us, particularly as the planet is experiencing the disorder of mama drama trauma, which this channel focuses on to heal. Mama drama trauma being that condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto the child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. And in cases where she's unwilling, unable, and unavailable, she may have transitioned to heal her own MDT. Loving detachment is necessary for the child to live a happy, healthy, and whole life. In other words, for us to fully embrace our birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. Living in loving detachment is necessary to do that. So the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck was channeled for us to have a daily practice of releasing ourselves from that bondage of attachment to the toxic mama experience, the forgetfulness that the drama engenders about our divinity, and the trauma that we experience as a result, the dissociative experience from our soul that keeps us in bondage. So the opportunity this full moon is to, from the tropical perspective, look at the harvest of the year. This has been a very intense year with Saturn and Jupiter in retrograde and the eclipses that we've had in the most powerful in Vedic astrology nodal position of Gemini in the North Node and Sagittarius in the South, because it has to do with that human intelligence of the ego in the North Node evolving through awareness and the release of old attachments to old ways of connecting with the divinity, with that Sagittarius in the South, based on experience. Wisdom is based on experience, what we learn through our own experience, as opposed to the intelligence of Mercury, which rules Gemini, that is based on an ability, an ego ability to figure things out. And so they work well together when understood. But when wisdom is held as the greater virtue, then we actually are evolving. We actually are growing. And so with Sagittarius being in the South Node, conjunct Saturn, conjunct Pluto, we have this opportunity to do a tremendous amount of release of old spiritual beliefs and practices that no longer work for us, such as toxic beliefs about sin, the idea that we are separate from God. That is a very old religious teaching. And it no longer serves us as we move into an Aquarian age that is about being very clear about our divinity. Now, speaking of clarity about divinity, not everyone survives deity initiation. And that is what we're talking about. Let us be clear. We are talking about divinity initiation, an initiation into a conscious ego-soul alignment. So this full moon is an illumination with regard to where you are with that. Great Mother wants you to be very clear about where you are in relationship to that, in relationship to your soul and what your soul wants to do at this particular time about that in your life as it relates to mama drama trauma, the foundation of all relationships in your life. In our relationships, just like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, who is the poster child of mama drama trauma, each card is based on a scene in the Wizard of Oz. Along that yellow brick road journey, that hero's journey to embracing our divinity, that journey, that rites of passage to deity initiation. Because, of course, when we return home, we return to peace. We return to our true self. So this return to self requires a rebirth. It requires this dark night of the soul, which for us, being mama drama trauma, most of the planet, most people won't admit it. It is a taboo subject. But during the Aquarian age, it will become more and more prominent as an issue to be addressed. There's a reason there's an increase in suicides. There's a reason there's an increase in drug addiction. All of these are just forms of pain avoidance. And this is what is meant by not everyone survives deity initiation. Many people do not believe because they do not know that they're divine beings. They think because of the attachment to forgetfulness, attachment to the illusion of this experience, and we incarnate into this material experience in order to have the veil over our eyes, as Dorothy had the veil, the believing that Oz was the god of all gods, until she took the witch's broom, which taught her that she had the power to take her power back from an idea of an externalized God. Great Mother, Father, God is us, within us. And this is a scary thought for a culture from a planetary collective consciousness that believes it's separate from God. That's a scary thought, let alone something to integrate into one's consciousness. So we are what the Christ called a peculiar people. We know that we are in this world, but we are not of it. And so this is a little spoken word that is payment and homage to what Great Mother is inviting us to do in terms of looking at this placement of where we are. Consciousness ascends and consciousness, it forgets. We evolve. The Kundalini awakens and the Kundalini goes to sleep. We are living, breathing beings who we have periods of active conscious awareness and growth and periods of rest and foulness, just like the soil. So that's why we learn first and foremost about our divinity identity, that we are dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, who are never judged, condemned for that. Because just like the seasons, that's just like saying, in the Northern Hemisphere, we're, slowly moving into fall, although the planet is heating up and is on fire and all of these things that are happening because of our forgetfulness. There's no judgment or condemnation. There is awareness. There's a difference. And it's a very important distinction to make. There is awareness that what we're doing is either fortifying the experience of our divinity or it is detracting from it. And we get to make the free will choice. Some say, and particularly in Vedic astrology, that we do not have free will. But it is said within the context, I would hope, I understand the belief of no free will within the context of we are given the choice in our experience. We get to experience making choices so that we know if we choose to go into the direction of what does not reinforce our divinity, such as burning down the rainforest and therefore setting our entire environmental equilibrium off, is not beneficial. We get to experience that so that we learn it. Again, wisdom being the hallmark of divinity. We learn through experience, which is why we're not judged or condemned. It doesn't make sense to believe in a God that judges and condemns you for coming here to have experience. How can you have experience if you don't get to choose? So in this life, we do get to choose. It's just that in the arc of eternity, there is just one consciousness, and that is the consciousness of love, and that is what they're talking about. And since it's difficult for most people to even grasp what is being discussed here, they just go ahead and jump to the end of the story that there is no free will. It's all, love. But step by step, yes, within lifetimes, that's how we gain experience. That's how we gain wisdom about what love is. We have to learn it through experience. Great Mother's inviting us to recognize at this particular stage in our lives with this Pisces full moon in both the Western and in the Vedic, what we are choosing. Are we choosing to go away from our divinity, feeling and experiencing being dearly loved, never judged or condemned, or left alone? Or are we continuing to engender those experiences, such as mama drama trauma, in particular here with your full moon reading, that you are detracting from that experience? Which one is it? Because within this season, there are a lot of transits that are being discussed. And one specifically with the Vedic, just like Great Mother in her extended introduction, with the Pluto-Saturn conjunction in the Western astrology that has captured the imagination of astrologers. In the Vedic astrology, we are having the Gemini move from Purnavasu into Ardra Nakshatra, and we're having Sagittarius move into Mula, which is the center of the cosmos. It's the nakshatra that is the center. It's the heart, the cosmic heart of the cosmos. It is Great Mother. It is the primordial womb. And so the primordial womb is going to receive for us what we are willing, ready, and able to release. And so that's why Great Mother is wanting us to know at this particular time, those of us who are working with releasing mama drama trauma, the blame, shame, and guilt, feeling the cause, feeling that we can cure, feeling that somehow we can control mama drama trauma, and releasing all of that dysfunction is going to be tremendously supported, especially as we have in November Jupiter moving into Sagittarius as well. So lots and lots of cosmic support for us. The spoken word that I would like to share with you is this: child, mother, father, teacher, parent, scholar, a pence, a pound, a dollar, a month, a day, an hour. Years, decades, scores. Work, hobbies, chores. A house, a window, a door. Beginning, middle, end. Whole, half, empty. Physiology, biology, anatomy. Plant, seed, soil. Sun, rain, earth. The planetary galactic search. Olmec, Toltec, Aztec, Cholula, Pyramid, Sphinx. Ego, soul, spirit, the initiation, communication, conduit. Maya 2012, the whole world, into it. Crazy, sane, normal, casual, everyday, formal. The known, unknown, and unknowable. Mystery, intrigue, certainty. Past, present, future. Galaxy, planet, light year. Stellar procession, sacred. Man, woman, offspring. Bound, insecure, free. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Night, noon, morning. Sacred, science, faith. Time, space, location. You are blessed, wanted, needed. Breathe, inspire, intention, purpose, reason. Cave, hut, house. Master, worker, slave. Moon, stars, sun. 3, 2, 1. Eternal divine self. Present, future, past. First, late, last. Dawn, day, sunset. And these are your Pisces. Shatabisha full moon readings. Libra moon sign people, you are in a state of denial about feeling abandoned and abused, which is normal. I cannot tell you how many years I was in denial of my MDT. Let me see, how many years was I? Anyway, this isn't about me. This Pisces full moon, it's really important that you realize that they're in your shadow position here with the Newt card. There's a real sense of loneliness that you may not be acknowledging, or that you may not want other people to know. That might be it. You may not want other people to know how lonely and alienated and estranged you feel from yourself, first and foremost. But it's as a result of feeling alienated from your mother. That's in your shadow position. You don't want to feel that way. And so it may obviously not be in your conscious mind that this is really what you're feeling. But Great Mother's coming through in your shadow position with this. And that you are, despite of this feeling, despite of this kind of being under the rug, you're really living your authentic self. I mean, and that's why this is important that it comes up, that this denial is an issue for you, because with the Brigade card, living this full moon throat chakra card, you are living your authentic self. You know, you are being who you truly feel yourself to be, you know, so it's not about being phony or fake. It's just what she's pointing to, this Pisces full moon, is that there's a distinction between being self-judgmental and self-critical and being self-aware. So you are being self-aware, which is why she's encouraging you to dig a little bit deeper and become more familiar with those uncomfortable feelings of alienation, because that is your doorway, this Pisces full moon, into more authenticity. And our authenticity is our divinity. It is our unique soul expression. And so the full moon is lighting a path to that and through that door for you. Because in the recent past, you have become familiar with aspects of your shadow self. Over the summer, you're no stranger to doing shadow work. I mean, that's not, again, what the issue is. I mean, you're in an authentic space. With the Inanna card, third eye, crescent moon energy, there are seeds that you have planted with an expanded awareness of how MDT, shame, blame, and guilt, this feeling of being a burden to others and that sort of thing. And then, just not expecting so much of other people, but at the same time needing to have that reciprocal dynamic in a relationship. You have seen how you've done that in ways that hurt you, and how you are doing that in ways that help the expression of your authentic self, which is your divinity identity. And so this doorway that has been opened through you doing this shadow work is now inviting you to chip away at the residual denial of MDT so that you can free yourself. That's the dance this full moon for you. It's the emancipation dance. This beautiful lavender third eye energy is coming through with the E in Aspire and the emancipation suit. It's balsamic moon energy, all about intuitive download. You are downloading that you do have the divine power and peace to deal with these things. And it's true. This is confirmation for you. You're doing a dance with that right now. And so you're fully expecting for there to be clear downloads about the direction that you need to go to follow your bliss here with the law of divine father. The double yin, second chakra or third quarter moon card. Second chakra is our desires beyond the tribe, our own personal family that we create, our own personal projects, our own children we procreate. It's releasing things that do not allow us to be, do, and have those things that are truly in our heart. That's the double yin energy, the download from Great Mother. The law of divine father is that conscious download. And so, again, you are in that space, and presently you're accepting your feelings with this full moon gut chakra energy of Demeter. You're accepting how you feel about things. The light is being shown on what those feelings are in a way that this newfound sense of self and authenticity and emancipation is giving you the distance you need between your feelings and what you think about your feelings in order to actually release the shame, blame, and guilt. We see here with Ishel in the let go position. So our emotions are our thoughts about how we feel. So how we feel is how we feel. That's just primal energy, primal lunar energy. It's just like clouds passing in the sky. You can't control that. But what we can do is shift our perspective with regard to how we see them. You know, sometimes you point out a cloud and you say, well, doesn't that look like an angel? Or doesn't that cloud look like, somebody holding a baby? And from another person's perspective, it's like, oh, that looks like a man with a big nose to me, That's what we have the power to do. And remember, it's not about the Pisces full moon energy of delusion. This is about the Pisces full moon energy of Shadrach, Shadi Bisha, which is going through the hard stuff in order to get to the clarity that we need. So this is sixth house energy for you, having to do with work-life balance, with health, with emotional balance, with calling out what is supportive in your life and what is not. So there's a need to make a decision about that and letting go of MDT, shame, blame, and guilt, whether it shows up in a person, place, or thing. establishing those boundaries based on what is serving your emotional health balance at this time. And of course, that's what Great Mother's talking about when she's talking about sixth house energy, because that hidden enemy is always ourselves. When we are betrayed, the betrayal always starts with ourselves. When we're deceived, it always starts with ourselves. When we don't trust other people, it always starts with how much we trust ourselves. And so this is the space that you're in. The law of Divine Mother is your center card. And so you are being encouraged to use this expansive phase of introspection to process your emotions in a way that releases anything that prevents you from aligning with your birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole. That is the bottom line. You have a birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole that you've tuned into, and the angels are helping you to stay focused on that with the angels, guides, and ancestors card. Living in loving detachment, the double yin yang card of the angels. We all have angels that support us in each phase of our lives, particularly as it relates to the purpose of our soul's incarnation. They do help soothe and comfort us when we have emotional discomfort, but not to the degree that it will not serve our soul's purpose. And that's important for you with Newt in your shadow position, Libra moon sign people, because you may not realize that sometimes when we are feeling alienated and feeling estranged, of course, it begins with ourselves. We are divine children, the Great Mother, Father, God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. Great Mother, Father, God, they don't see us as weak. They see us as resilient, powerful beings. And so as we see ourselves as that, we don't want to ignore that cloud is passing within us, that is giving us a sense of emotional imbalance. And we can just ask the angels, hey, I'm doing my soul work. I'm doing my expansive work. I just need a little comfort right now with regard to this. I know I need to do the work to process it, and I am doing it. But at this moment, I really do need some help with loving detachment. I really do need some help maintaining this emotional boundary, because I'm not looking forward to the situation and it's really triggering me. That kind of internal dialogue with the angels is a powerful hidden influence in your life. It's a powerful hidden influence in your life. Use it. Use it at this time and every time you need that support, but particularly now as you embody the law of destiny and free will. You have a lot of great father energy here with these law cards, the yin yang third quarter moon cards, which are release. And so you have release here with third eye energy. And so releasing those things from the third eye has to do with this present K2 transit in Sagittarius, which is about to move in the nakshatra of Mula, which is the center, the cosmic center of the universe, the womb of Great Mother. Sagittarius is the sage, our wisdom, our spiritual insight, third eye energy, long distance travel. When we're talking Great Mother, we're talking about long distance inner travel, astral travel, from where we have our Akashic soul records. And so anything that is attached to the imaginative space where all manifestation is created, that is not serving you moving forward, is needing to be released right now in order for you to fully step into your divinity identity. That's why the angels are so present right now. They're always present, but they're present right now for you as a powerful hidden influence to assist you. And see, this is a double yang, single yin card. That means powerful action toward your destiny to live beyond MDT at this time. And you're embodying that energy. It's just that part of what you need to release is a resistance to looking at how alienated and estranged you feel. Because once you look at that, you acknowledge that, and you ask for the help that you need to deal with the triggers with that, that's just going to expand your authenticity and the expression of who you are even more, which balances your scales emotionally, intuitively, and health-wise in your life. But when we do this kind of work, when we have issues of anxiety, a lot of times people have cysts and boils and stuff on their skin because of anxiety, skin issues a lot of times. They're healed. But it's work that has to be done beneath the surface. You see how that's symbolic. Great Mother, Father God, they speak in signs and symbols. It's underneath the surface. And so the immediate benefit of doing this work is that you're learning to live the law. The Moses card is gut chakra processing, first quarter moon, making a conscious decision right now to deal with these things is going to allow you to do this ego soul alignment work that strengthens your authenticity, allows you to stand in your birthright to be happy, healthy, and whole, and live in loving detachment with those boundaries that you need to do so from that MDT shame, blame, and guilt. Great Mother's advice to you is to allow this divine expression to resurrect you. Allows you to take your power back from this situation fully. Let this full moon energy, sixth house energy, is a very auspicious energy in terms of working our karma out. Working our karma out is something that we do day by day, because karma means actions, through our actions. And working with these law cards, these are conscious actions. That's what Great Father energy is. It's the law, the word, the logos. It's what we do. It's the religion. It's our practice. It's what we do to align with our spiritual truth. And that's why spiritual independence is so important, because that truth is different for each and every one of us. And how we align with it is not an issue of piety of approval from others. It's about how authentic our peace is in our daily lives as we walk things out. Because our actions create our experiences. Our thoughts, our feelings create our actions. And so we're working at the source. It's very possible that by doing this, Sulis, the full moon heart chakra card, this is your third full moon card. You have Brigitte, throat chakra, full moon, third chakra, full moon, Demeter, the gut processing, the full moon card in Sulis. Is about already being well. It's very possible that it'll be a very quick balance for you. And quick in terms of by the Libra new moon. We have a Virgo new moon coming up in the Vedic. But by the Libra new moon, within about 2 months, you conscientiously and consistently doing this work, you'll begin to actually feel this birthright of being happy, healthy, and whole, even at the level of which now this shadow feeling of alienation is active. By then, it'll be something different. Because Libra, Venus rules Libra and Taurus, and so that's what we're talking about. Venus heart chakra, Venus rules heart chakra, and Venus and Libra, Taurus and Libra. That is your new moon. And so by your new moon, there should be, and there often is, a rebirth, a renewal. In your personal birth chart, your new moon is a different time. But because this is a collective conscious reading, it's going in alignment with the collective consciousness of your sign. Of course, your aspects and various configurations of your birth chart is going to make a difference. You have the long-term outcome of this work being Kuan Yin energy, more self-compassion, more self-understanding and self-nurturing. That is what's going to fill that void that you presently feel with regard to the orphan card. And it's very likely that ultimately this creates an awakening in you about how to more effectively process your emotions with the Pele Crescent Moon card. You'll know who you are. You know, you won't be questioning, okay, well, is this my authentic self or is this my authentic self? You will have developed a sense of internal dialogue that you know what's resonating with you and you know what's not. You know what's bringing you peace and you know what's not. And every time you go in the direction of that peace, every time you go into that direction of what is honoring that imaginative space that allows you to experience your divinity identity, you feel it. You feel it. You don't have to ask. That's the awakening. So that's what Great Mother has for you this Pisces full moon, Libra moon sign people. I hope that was insightful and it helped you with regard to some internal work that you may be doing at this time. But remember, above all and most of all, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks. I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother.